Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Alvina Putri Rosita. I will explain about the audiolingual method. The first, I will start from the definition of audiolingual method. What is audiolingual method? The audiolingual method is a method for foreign language teaching which emphasizes the listening and speaking before writing and reading. This method is combination between behavioral psychology and linguistic. It's also called army method. Why audiolingual method called army method? Because audiolingual method, or ALM, was developed in the US during Second World War. This method is accepted by people of other countries and was introduced in Indonesia in the 1960s. There are two objectives in this method. The first is short-range objective, includes training in listening comprehension and accurate pronunciation. Okay, so this method is priorities teaching listening and pronunciation. Long-range objective, or the ultimate goal, is to develop the students' abilities are the same like what native speakers have. To use it automatically without stopping to think. Okay, so there are some characteristics of audiolingual method. The first is based on the principles of behavioral psychology. Next, spoken from first, written from later. And the third is grammar is taught inductively through drills. And the fourth, vocabulary is limited and learned in context, not an isolation. The fifth is purpose language is the medium of instructions. And the sixth is new material is presented in dialect form. The seventh is teacher-dominated method. The eighth is correct pronunciation and grammar emphasized. And the last is successful responses are immediately reinforced. Okay, there are some method. There are 4 parts in the audiolingual method. The first is repetition. The second is inflection. The third is replacement, and the last is restatement. Okay, I will give you example from repetition. The students in repetition, the students repeat what the teacher says. Example like teacher says, I want to buy some fruit, and students repeat again what the teacher says, I want to buy some fruit. So the students copy the teacher word for word. Okay, the second is inflection. In inflection, the teacher says a word or sentences, the students change the form. Example, teacher says, I want to buy some fruit, and students will change the form, like I wanted to buy some fruit. So students change the form from want to wanted. Okay, the third is replacement. In replacement, The teacher says a sentence and the students replace a word in a sentence. Example, teacher says, I want to buy some bananas, and students will replace a word in a sentence, being, I want to buy some apples. So students will change the word from bananas to apple. Okay, the last is restatement. In restatement, the teacher says a sentence and the students rephrase the sentence. Example, a teacher says, tell me to speak louder, and students will rephrase the sentence being, speak louder. Okay. Learner role. There are two learner roles. The first is learner can be directed by skilled training techniques to correct responses, and the two is they are reactive role. So there are two teacher roles. The first is central and active, and monitors and correct the learner's performance. Or in learner roles, students are imitators of teacher's model or the tips she supplies of model speakers. They follow the teacher's directions and respond as accurately and as rapidly as possible. And in teacher's role, the teacher is like an orchestra leader, directing and controlling the language behavior of his or her students. He also is responsible for providing his or her students with a good model for imitation. There are three present they use. The first is, this method has been scientifically discredited. The second is, it is still sometimes used in ESL classrooms. And the last is, it can be beneficial but should be used in conjunction with other methods. And the audiolingual method have 8 advantages. The first is all students act in the classroom. The second is the stage of the class more interesting and lively. And the third is speaking and listening skills are better trained. The fourth is the audiolingual method is said to be the best approach for beginning level foreign classes. The fifth is it aims developing listening and speaking skills, which constitutes a step away from the grammar translation method. The sixth is it paved the way for the development of communicative language teaching, which has been seen as a response of the audiolingual method. And the last is it popularized the use of visual aids. And the audiolingual method have some disadvantages. The first is grammar skill untrained. The second is students were not able to transfer skills to real communication outside the classroom. The third is many students found boring and unsatisfying. The fourth is this is a teacher-centered method. The ALM makes considerable demands upon the teacher. And the sixth is the basic steps of imitation, repetition, and reinforcement turn students into parrots who can reproduce many good utterances but never create anything new. The seventh is students lacked an active role in the classroom. And the last is very little attention is paid to communication and content. Okay, I will conclude about the material about the audiolingual method. Audiolingual method holds that language learning is like other forms of learning. That is the reason why it stresses the mechanistic aspects of language learning and language use. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.